Something else that I think is really, really, really great that's happened is that the first SUDEP legislation has been signed into law in New Jersey and in Illinois.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now tell everybody what SUDEP stands for.
Sudden unexplained death in epilepsy.
And what's very interesting about this, I know that a couple of months ago, we actually went to an event at NKU where a woman decided to do awareness and with the Epilepsy Foundation because her son passed from a SUDEP. I don't know.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
So,
and it had a profound effect upon her life. And here was I think.
he was pretty healthy too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was. He was getting ready to graduate from NKU.
Mm-hmm.
And he had his entire life in front of him. Sort of had the world by the short hairs. Had a good degree and was getting out there and was gonna, really,
Take off.
Yeah, the sky was the limit for the guy. And here, boom, he went to sleep one night, had seizure activity, and did not awaken.
Yeah.
So, and what this legislation is geared towards is actually to work, is to generate awareness and assist medical examiners in gathering data on the number of true SUDEP cases across the country. See, the problem of it is that in many instances, we may not even know how many people are actually passing away because of their epilepsy.
And I was going to say, is that something that they can find out in the autopsy?
A lot of it, sometimes they may or may not, but what they're trying to do is the model state law requires medical examiners to find out about a potential history of epilepsy as part of an autopsy and would help make sure all cases are reported to the National SUDEP Registry. A medical examiner's identification of SUDEP and the release of medical history are very crucial hurdles in helping to advance SUDEP research. Accuracy in reporting SUDEP as a cause of death is a huge first step towards better accounting for the condition. So really, we don't even know how often it's taking place.
Well, and then you think about it, that's one of the things that I've read up on is saying that, with epilepsy, it is still one of the most unknown neurological conditions as far as having that information, because I believe that the brain is just its own, it really has its own mind, but just the way that it operates, and there are so many pieces that play a part within the brain, it's hard to dissect it.
Yeah.
So, and I think another thing too that should be addressed, and I don't know if we have that information, is making sure that people don't get SUDEP they don't believe that SUDEP is SIDS, because I know that with the sudden infant death, they may be a little misconstrued, or they may feel like that's something else. So to understand that SIDS and SUDEP are two different things.
Oh, they certainly are. SUDEP is confined to folks who have epilepsy, and it seems to be confined to folks who have uncontrolled seizures, to that 20 to 30% of folks who don't get good seizure control. Okay, most of those seizures are those tonic-clonic seizures, those generalized tonic-clonic.
Yeah, I'm in that boat.
Grand mal.
Yeah. So I think that this is something that should be, it's such an unfortunate situation, but I think having the education about it will at least, it may not change anything, at least of now, but it can at least get you prepared.
Exactly. It's not going to, it's in and of itself, this isn't going to change anything, but what it is going to allow is it's going to allow for hopefully better gathering of information. So we get an idea as to really how big this problem is, okay? Then what we can do is we can begin to look at similarities from individuals who have actually suffered from SUDEP.
Right.
And maybe find some answers, because we're not finding a whole lot of answers right now.
Yeah.
Okay. there's different theories about it, but we don't have any hard data.
And I think that that's the most frustrating thing. I would imagine, especially finding having a family member, or just knowing someone that died from SUDEP because you don't know. And I think most times people want to have an answer.
Mm-hmm.
So at least building up more information on it, like you said, to get people prepared for coping or just to understand what's happening next. So, great things are happening, and much appreciation to New Jersey and New Jersey and Illinois. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So hopefully other states will follow that. And then this is another thing that you can talk to your state legislator about. Hey, look, they passed this particular law. We want to see the epilepsy movement move forward. We want more information about this. We need to be gathering this information.
Right, creating maybe an Ohio base or however they would do it.
There's a national SUDEP base, okay? That people can plug into, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now, would that have the registry on it?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Awesome, yeah.
Okay. So that's what we want to move people towards. And the only way you do that is through sometimes legislation.
And
asking simple questions. Did the deceased have epilepsy? Instead of just no cause determined.
Right. And I think that that's an important part to say too, that we have to be advocates for where we live and the things that we do. Things will not change if we're not involved. And I think that sometimes people just sit back and think, well, somebody else will handle it, and then we're still left in that same position, not knowing and having the same things happen without any answers. So it's really important for people to realize if you want change, you have to start within yourself. So, here it is. We're able to provide more information, and if others want to find out more, they're always welcome, aren't they, to call us?
Oh, certainly. And this is, I think this is good because it just brings to light, until recently, doctors didn't even talk about this. And neurologists and epileptologists didn't even talk to their patients about the possibility of epilepsy maybe being a life-threatening condition.
That taboo that ends up really blockading what we need to have happen. Yeah.
And preventing people from knowing. That was I think, thinking back about the lady that we were talking to over at NKU. I think that was one of her complaints was that the doctor never even bothered to tell him that this could be a fatal condition if it was untreated or if he continued to have seizures on an uncontrolled basis.
To be perfectly honest, even SUDEP was new to me learning about it last year with going to NKU. But I think that what also is so important to remember is that without this information, we're going to have a lot more families upset and downtrodden about things that probably could have been taken care of, and that major question mark, that's hard, so.
That certainly is, I think sometimes people take their epilepsy more lightly than they should.
Well, and I was going to say, and to that effect, as far as I didn't know anything about SUDEP, and I don't think that I thought that maybe I have a really bad seizure like I did, but to really put in perspective that you can die from it at any given moment, I mean, just really it being sudden says a lot. I mean, sudden means now, so thinking
surprise!
There we go, getting in trouble, but I think that, that's something to remember, that you do have something that it is affecting your whole life. And I think that also goes into being appreciative of what you have. And I think sometimes we talk about that all the time, people can either get really depressed about their epilepsy or they can decide to make a change in it. And having that opportunity to be here another day is truly a blessing, whichever way you go about saying it or whatnot, it's a gift. So more information, more knowledge of knowing maybe how to take care of yourself better. Not that this can stop it, but just like we have new drugs, FDA approved. me make sure I say that with you. So, you know, there are other opportunities. So yeah, good info. Thanks New Jersey and Illinois.
Yeah,
And hopefully Ohio get on board.
let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
Because
And
we're
you
the
know
heart of it
what?
all.
That's right. And you know what else?
The brain of it all. As maybe we
Let's
should
start a
say.
petition on getting us the registry here. So call us at 1-877-804-2241.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.